Day 3. Yuga Aoyama, Pal, and Spamton get into a fight. Pal triumphantly kills them both. Miku tries to spear fish with a trident. Dusty Rhodes hunts for other tributes. Sonic.exe hunts for other tributes. Scott Cawthon discovers a river. Hit the Target and Goliath Clown hunt for other tributes. Old Nick unknowingly eats toxic berries. Rochelle receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Mikado camouflages himself in the bushes. Monica hunts for other tributes. M. Bison hunts for other tributes. Cat God makes a slingshot. Hollywood Hogan tends to Chef Monkey's wounds. All for One makes a slingshot. Aku goes hunting. Modern Triple H, Gaster, and Ivan hunt for other tributes. Plutarch Man severely injures the Great Muta and leaves him to die. Mr. Puzzles receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Mitch and Tsumugi fight Doug Hauser and Scott Hall. Mitch and Tsumugi survive. Bill receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Teto attempts to climb a tree, but falls on the matron, killing them both. Frankie attacks Tyrone King, but he manages to escape. Redmond Man receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Agatha thinks about home. R.E. Matt Pat camouflages himself in the bushes. Coach, Rick Rude, and Administrator get into a fight. Rick Rude triumphantly kills them both. Olivia Man, Izuru, and Mighty Eagle hunt for other tributes. Psycho Immortal attacks Ellis, but he manages to escape. Am and Flowey split up to search for resources. Calypso and Ultron Sigma track down and kill Dr. Emmett Brown. Red Engineer steals from Shane while he isn't looking. The church guy injures himself. Clover searches for firewood. Horseless Headless Horseman makes a wooden spear. Man receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Principal Nizu sprains his ankle while running away from Shang Tsung. Heihachi is pricked by thorns while picking berries. Doom Slayer tends to Kevin Nash's wounds. K1B0 injures himself. Turbo receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Hangry the Pig, Bray, Zoe, and Nappa hunt for other tributes. Curly goes hunting. The Savior and Jules Archibald work together for the day. The Taxman, REPO, falls into a frozen lake and drowns. Vince explores the arena. Nick and Bill Cipher hunt for other tributes. Fallen tributes. 18 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Kirby. District 11. The Corps. District 10. SCP-079. District 5. The Man in the Suit. District 10. Penny the Chicken. District 7. Lucky the Rabbit. District 7. Yuga Aoyama. District 12. Spamton. District 2. Old Nick. District 6. The Great Muta. District 9. Doug Hauser. District 7. Scott Hall. District 9. Teto. District 2. The Matron. District 7. Coach. District 8. Administrator. District 6. Dr. Emmett Brown. District 12. The Taxman, REPO. District 4. Night 3. Aku screams for help. The church guy cries himself to sleep. Vince begs for Am to kill him. It refuses, keeping Vince alive. Olivia Man receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Sonic.exe and Cat God run into each other and decide to truce for the night. Ivan attempts to start a fire, but is unsuccessful. Monica quietly hums. Ultron Sigma loses sight of where he is. Mitch unknowingly eats toxic berries. Heihachi questions his sanity. Agatha unknowingly eats toxic berries. Curly, Nappa, and Doom Slayer get into a fight. Nappa triumphantly kills them both. Ellis, Shang Tsung, and K1B0 discuss the games and what might happen in the morning. Calypso, Mighty Eagle, and Dusty Rhodes cheerfully sing songs together. Tyrone King tends to his wounds. Hit the Target receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Izuru goes to sleep. Turbo tends to Gman's wounds. Frankie lets Zoe into his shelter. Blutarch Man receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Gaster climbs a tree to rest. Redmond Man sees a fire, but stays hidden. Hollywood Hogan screams for help. Psycho Immortal thinks about home. Rochelle, Clover, and Scott Cawthon sleep in shifts. Bill Cipher thinks about winning. Goliath Clown fends Shane, Miku, and Rick Rude away from his fire. Jules Archibald destroys Principal Nizu's supplies while he is asleep. Kevin Nash and Sumuji sleep in shifts. Bray fends Re Matt Pat, Flowey, and Hangry the Pig away from his fire. Red Engineer quietly hums. The Savior forces Pal to kill All for One or Modern Triple H. He decides to kill Modern Triple H. Bill and Mr. Puzzles tell stories about themselves to each other. Chef Monkey begs for Horseless Headless Horseman to kill him. He refuses, keeping Chef Monkey alive. M. Bison cries himself to sleep. Nick tends to Mikado's wounds. Day 4. Turbo discovers a river. Psycho Immortal tries to spear fish with a trident. Bill shoots an arrow into Blutarch Man's head. Hit the Target sprains his ankle while running away from Gaster. Mighty Eagle strangles Pal after engaging in a fist fight. Kevin Nash and Sonic.exe hunt for other tributes. Heihachi receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Tyrone King receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Tsumuji receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Jules Archibald and Hangry the Pig hunt for other tributes. Mikado camouflages himself in the bushes. Rick Rude tends to K1B0's wounds. Bill Cipher sprains his ankle while running away from Nick. Ivan searches for firewood. Olivia Man goes hunting. M. Bison constructs a shack. Nappa overhears the Savior and Scott Cawthon talking in the distance. Gman steals from Mr. Puzzles while he isn't looking. Vince discovers a river. Principal Nizu questions his sanity. Aku searches for a water source. Horseless Headless Horseman searches for a water source. Ellis receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Rochelle discovers a cave. M forces Cat God to kill Shang Tsung or Miku. He decides to kill Miku. Clover picks flowers. Dusty Rhodes hunts for other tributes. Ultron Sigma discovers a cave. Izuru attacks Chef Monkey, but he manages to escape. Red Engineer sees smoke rising in the distance, but decides not to investigate. Goliath Clown, Hollywood Hogan, Zoe, and Calypso track down and kill Shane. Re Matt Pat attacks the church guy, but he manages to escape. Monica poisons Bray's drink, but mistakes it for her own and dies. Redmond Man constructs a shack. Frankie fishes. Flowey camouflages himself in the bushes. All for One is pricked by thorns while picking berries. Fallen tributes. 10 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Mitch. District 1. Agatha. District 7. Curly. District 11. Doom Slayer. District 11. Modern Triple H. District 4. Blutarch Man. District 6. Pal. District 3. Miku. District 2. Shane. District 3. Monica. District 1. Night 4. Rick Rude attempts to start a fire, but is unsuccessful. Olivia Man receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Dusty Rhodes and Turbo tell stories about themselves to each other. M. Bison, Heihachi, and Redmond Man get into a fight. M. Bison triumphantly kills them both. Frankie receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Calypso attempts to start a fire, but is unsuccessful. Man receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Mikado tends to his wounds. Shang Tsung and Clover hold hands. Ultron Sigma climbs a tree to rest. Psycho Immortal, Bray, Red Engineer, and Goliath Clown tell each other ghost stories to lighten the mood. Izuru spears Jules Archibald in the abdomen. Hollywood Hogan tries to sing himself to sleep. Vince receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Hangry the Pig lets Horseless Headless Horseman into his shelter. Mr. Puzzles attempts to start a fire, but is unsuccessful. Flowey receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Scott Cawthon stabs Chef Monkey while his back is turned. The church guy thinks about winning. Nick is unable to start a fire and sleeps without warmth. Cat God begs for Tsumugi to kill him. She refuses, keeping Cat God alive. Aku, Principal Nizu, and Bill cheerfully sing songs together. Ellis, Gaster, and Kevin Nash sleep in shifts. Hit the target fends Sonic.exe, Ivan, and Mighty Eagle away from his fire. All for One defeats the Savior in a fight, but spares his life. K1, B0 and Bill Cipher talk about the tributes still alive. Nappa convinces Zoe to snuggle with him. M cooks its food before putting its fire out. Rochelle receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Tyrone King severely injures R.E. Matpat and leaves him to die. Goliath Clown defeats Tsumugi in a fight, but spares her life. Gaster, Dusty Rhodes, and Zoe hunt for other tributes. Hit the target chases the church guy. Ultron Sigma receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Frankie sprains his ankle while running away from Mighty Eagle. The Savior bleeds out due to untreated injuries. Turbo goes hunting. Kevin Nash travels to higher ground. Bill Cipher receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Mikado and Calypso work together for the day. Cat God, Tyrone King, Principal Nizu, Man, and Flowey hunt for other tributes. All for One is pricked by thorns while picking berries. M. Bison decapitates Clover with a sword. Scott Cawthon, Olivia Mann, Ivan, and Mr. Puzzles hunt for other tributes. Horseless Headless Horseman defeats Vince in a fight, but spares his life. Shang Tsung searches for a water source. Hollywood Hogan sprains his ankle while running away from Red Engineer. Bray and Izuru hunt for other tributes. Rochelle explores the arena. Nick goes hunting. Ellis goes hunting. Nappa strangles Aku after engaging in a fist fight. Rick Rude forces K1, B0 to kill Hangry the Pig or Sonic.exe. He refuses to kill, so Rick Rude kills him instead. Psycho Immortal and Bill split up to search for resources. 9 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Heihachi. District 5. Redmond Man. District 6. Jules Archibald. District 10. Chef Monkey. District 7. R.E. Matpat. District 3. The Savior. District 3. Clover. District 2. Aku. District 4. K1, B0. District 11. All for One attempts to start a fire, but is unsuccessful. Goliath Clown accidentally detonates a land mine while trying to arm it. Gaster and Gman huddle for warmth. Zoe looks at the night sky. Hit the target, Tyrone King, and Izuru sleep in shifts. Rochelle dies from an infection. Ultron Sigma stays awake all night. Turbo, Psycho Immortal, Mighty Eagle, and Hangry the Pig sleep in shifts. Tsumugi tries to sing herself to sleep. Flowey forces Red Engineer to kill Cat God or Ellis. He refuses to kill, so Flowey kills him instead. Olivia Mann looks at the night sky. Frankie loses sight of where he is. Mr. Puzzles forces Horseless Headless Horseman to kill Hollywood Hogan or Kevin Nash. He refuses to kill, so Mr. Puzzles kills him instead. Principal Nizu sees a fire, but stays hidden. M. Bison tries to sing himself to sleep. Ivan receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Vince is awoken by nightmares. The church guy, Bill, and Sonic.exe track down and kill Dusty Rhodes. Bill's cipher receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Shang Tsung receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Nick, Mikado, Nappa, and Calypso form a suicide pact, killing themselves. Rick Rude decapitates Bray with a sword. Scott Cawthon goes to sleep. Chapters 3 through 5 complete. Good night.